Today we're going to do some more work with lists, and we're going to learn how to use the remove method. So we're going to use it to remove a student from a class list. And I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. So let's create a class list. We're using class list as our holder here. So we'll just do Alex, Bob, Carla. I'm just using the alphabet to make my life easy. Don, Edna. And that's certainly long enough for what we need. So we have our class list, and let's then ask the user. So let's call that bump, because this is the student we're going to bump out of the list. Equals input, enter the student to remove from the class. Then we can do class list dot remove the bump student. For student in class list. So now what we want to do is we want to print them and see, indeed, did we get rid of the student. Now, what we might want to do, well, we'll print it here. Print the student. We need to clean this up a little bit. We better print a little message. Here's the new list. We really need to tell people what we're doing. And we probably also would want to print here and maybe we should do that too. Print original class list. This program will work without all these prints and these for loops. It'll work just fine, and the user will have no idea what's going on. So even though I added about 5 or 6 more lines of code here, it's much, much better. So let's just quick step through the program. This program removes students from a class list. We created a class list. The user will never see that part. And then we're going to print the original class list and print it out. Then we're going to ask the user, well, who left? And then hopefully we are going to remove that person from the class. Let's see if it works or if I made a mistake. So there's my original class list. Let's say Bob leaves. Yep, it removed it, no problem. Now let's run it again. I know it's down here at the bottom of the screen. Let's say we spell it wrong. It has a problem. So there is an issue here that you do have to spell it right. But that's sort of the case always. Now there's another way to do this. We could say, instead of enter the name, enter the student number to remove from the class. But then we have to say, let's see if this works. Remove clist.bump. So now we're going to try and do it with the number. And let's see if that's going to give us any troubles. Now in this case, I want to remove Bob. He's student number 1. No problem. Because remember, it goes, Alex would be 0, Bob would be 1, Carla would be 2, Don 3, Edna 4. Let me show you that code again. I couldn't just use input. Let me highlight it so we can see it. I had to use integer or int input because I want a number. Then I said class list dot remove class list, whatever the number that we put in for a bump for the student we wanted to bump out of the class or that they needed to move out of the class. Now you might wonder, well, why didn't you need clist equals that? Remove is a method. We're not changing the whole list. If you did that, it would get confused because it thinks you're trying to remove something from the whole list. Now, let me show you, and this is in our packet, I believe it's on page 27. Let me show you where that's at. There's a whole lot of methods we can use. But we're not going to use them all in this class. Some of them are more specialized or for different things. The main ones we saw were append, to add an item to the list, and we saw remove. Another way to do it is you can insert your list, and another nice one is sorting. List.sort. In fact, let's add that to our list just to do that here. And let me see, where's Python at? Here it is. So before we print the class list, we might do clist.sort, because that way it should alphabetize it. Oh, and I have it in alphabetical order, so let's move a couple of them around, just so it's not in alphabetical order to start with. Let's move Edna and Don out of order. And I better double check that I have all my commas right. So that sort, that is one that's really useful. That's one that you might want to use in some of your programs. Yeah, now see, you put them in alphabetical order just in case a person forgot to do that. And when you alphabetize something like Excel will alphabetize, it uses something real similar. Okay, then let's see. Now we want to remove, let's say, Carla leaves. So Carla would be at position 2. And it gets rid of that. So again, there's all these different ways to remove and change things. Usually append, remove are real helpful. Sort is real helpful. There are some other ones, like you could count the number of times something is in a list. So you could check to make sure there weren't no duplicates, or you could find out how many people named Bob are in your class list. So there are other ones that sometimes you'll use. Reverse will flip the list. But I'd say we're probably going to use append, remove, and sort most often.